Well, the film festival's really become a big event, and for Disney to participate in it, we were very excited that our timing of our film to finish, to be able to bring it here. It just opened in the United States on Friday, and we're screening it tomorrow here at the same time, so it's very exciting.
Dubai, yes, lovely, love it. Little rain today, but that's okay. We're expecting sun tomorrow because Princess and the Frog is going to be airing, and it brings sunshine every place it goes.
Yeah,
so we're anticipating a great screen.
It started with an idea that Ron and John had to pitch the movie to John Lasseter, the creative executive for Disney, also obviously has directed many of the Pixar films. John Lasseter wanted to bring hand-drawn back to the studio. He actually had a passion for hand-drawn, even though he had created all the CG films. And those two things combined into The Princess and the Frog. Well, the story is fairly simple, right? Princess kisses a frog, frog turns back into a prince, somewhat the end of the story. We knew that our movie had to take a certain twist, go in a very different direction. So in this particular movie, when the princess kisses the frog, she's actually not a princess at that particular moment of the film. And so therefore it backfires and she turns into a frog. It's important that they go on a journey together and they meet a host of other characters in the movie, and they even have
An evil villain.
Yeah, an evil
to
villain.
meet. Yeah, it's true. I mean, I think that's the beauty of working with Ron and John, is that, you know, they always come up with those little subtle great twists that, you know, that makes it really fun to work on their movies. In this case, you know, I play the villain Dr. Facilier, who's sort of like a cross between, you know, Captain Hook and Cruella de Vil, kind of like, you know, as though he was the love child of those two characters. And it's great because, I mean, everyone wants to work on the Disney villain, and the better you make your villain, the better the film is, you know. And Tiana, in this case, you know, he creates a huge hurdle for her. He exists in the backwoods of New Orleans. This movie takes place in New Orleans, you know, in the jazz age, it was the early 20s, so we've got really great music. And the setting is perfect. It's our princess film, you know, for 2009/10, and it's the perfect time for this type of film.
I think too, it's really important when we make these movies that we have elements of the movie that are scary, parts that are very funny, parts that are very emotional, can make you cry, make you laugh. If you can go through a range of emotions, then you feel like you've seen a big Disney film. Look, having worked on the movie, we were thrilled with the reaction. I mean, people came out, they knew all the names of all the characters. They each had their favorite character, but then they changed their mind. No, actually, this is my favorite character. Right. They love the music. It's been overwhelming, the response, the positive response we've been getting on the film on so many levels.
Yeah.
Well, never having produced a live action feature, I can only talk about producing animation. I came from the theater world for 15 years, and it's very much like theater in that it's extremely collaborative. You hire a group of artists, and each day you are making the film better. You're getting closer and closer to finishing the film, but Ron and John, the directors, work very collaboratively. They take a lot of input from the animators, from the other department heads, all at the goal of raising the bar and telling the best story we can. We actually screen the film for ourselves about once every 6 to 8 weeks and give ourselves very critical notes. We invite other people in to give us notes. So it's a very open, collaborative process. Each time making the film better is our goal.
And I'll say it, we were just talking about this the other night. It's like, yes, it's very different from producing a live action film. Animation is very much it's a friendly environment. You know, where we all get along and we love each other, even though
it's hard work.
Trekking and it's hard work, it's like that. I've been on live action sets where people fight, and you know, and it's not fun, and not as fun as you'd like it to be, but not all set.
I mean, we have some serious discussions in making the movie, but it's all with the same goal of making the movie better.
Right.
It really is, everybody's trying to raise the bar, keep the bar really high. It's important for us, for hand-drawn animation coming back, that we do it right, we do it well, we tell a great story, that people focus on the characters and the music and what's fun about Disney movies. Right. It's interesting that John Lasseter, when he came, literally the very first night, he took the producers out to dinner and said, I'm bringing hand-drawn back. But actually, he envisions a studio that can do both. Right. So it shouldn't matter whether it's hand-drawn or CG. What matters is telling great stories, raising the bar of the storytelling and the characters, and creating believable worlds and great characters set in those believable worlds. That's what makes a great film. When we actually had an audience see the film for the first time, we asked them what they loved about the movie. And again, they talked about all the characters, the music, the settings, all of that. No one mentioned that it was hand-drawn, and we actually liked that, because what it meant was they were lost in the film.
Right.
The film took them to another place, and it didn't matter what the medium was.
Right.
There are some things I think you can do in hand-drawn that a little bit easier than you can do in CG right now. And,
Right.
you know, it just depends upon the film, and it's like telling an oil painter that they can no longer paint with oil, they can only paint with watercolor. It doesn't make any sense. It should
Right.
be the finished product that counts.
True.
Right. Well, that's a different approach. You know, mocap is, in my opinion, not entirely animation. You know, it's kind of like rotoscoping live action in some way with you know, sort of digital puppetry.
Okay.
It's kind of a medium that hasn't completely defined itself yet. Not to say that it won't in the future, but it's very different.
Mm-hmm.
But there's something about the hand-drawn process, I think, that is very sort of tangible to a lot of our audience. It's something that you can actually reach out and feel. And there's a fun illusion with actually being able to move an audience with a series of drawings. You know, it's much harder to do as opposed to shooting live action. That's why we draw it, you know, because you can shoot live action just as easy and be able to pull that performance out of an actor.
I think some things are actually more believable sometimes in animation than they would be had you shot it in live action.
Probably true. I remember the first time that I saw 101 Dalmatians, and I thought those characters were real because the way they affected me. But when you look at them on screen, they were, you know, uber caricature versions of real people. But Cruella de Vil really affected me, you know. And seeing, you know, Roger playing with these dogs is something that you love to do. It's like
Right.
if you play with animals and stuff. So you felt these performances, but yet still they were drawings. They were drawings on the screen that made you feel an affinity towards them. And that was something I always wanted from that day when I saw that film. I felt like that was something I always really wanted to do.
The other thing is the backgrounds. I mean, we try to create what it feels like to be somewhere. We're not trying to literally recreate reality, but sort of give an emotion. And there is, you don't realize it when you're watching the film, but subliminally you are actually participating in the filmmaking by filling in all of the blanks, and that's an important process for animation too.